What is going on, everybody? It's your boy NeoStarling, and I am back here with another video. So today's video is a lot more special than something that I typically would do on my typical uploads. Now, the reason for that being is that I have my very first ever request. Yes, you are not hearing this incorrectly. I finally have a request. There's this particular individual who's been listening to my content for a while now, and he's found some value out of what I'm actually doing. So I'm actually going to take the opportunity to read out his request here for everybody. And hopefully some of you can gain some value from this as well. This guy really wants some advice and he seems really down and out in his luck right now. So I'm no specialist in any way, shape, or form. I suggest that if anyone is going through any form of depression or they're going through something that they need professional help for, I do once more suggest to do that. All I can do is give you my thoughts, my opinion, my perspective on what I've observed over my own lived experiences. And hopefully, through some hard work and dedication, we can all achieve what we want to do in this world. So I'm going to actually read this guy's question right now. Okay. I'm going to protect his identity. I'm not going to say who he is or anything like that. I'm just going to read it out. Okay. So his question goes, "Hello, Neo. I've been following you for a while now. And even though your channel isn't a very large one, I just wanted to say that I've gotten quite a bit of value from watching your content. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. I have some concerns that I am hoping you can help me out with. So I guess I'll just start. I'm a 20-year-old male and I work along with going to school. I am studying to be a doctor. I've always had a passion to want to help other people. However, recently I've been feeling a little down and out. There's a void in my heart that hasn't been filled, and I am truly trying to figure out why." Wow, that's pretty heavy, man. So we're gonna keep reading, and we're gonna see how after I read his full message, then I'll give my perspective. Or if there's something that I feel that I can break down right away, I'll do that. So he continued going, "Even though I've been studying for a while now, I am no longer feeling the same sense of fulfillment that I once had when I began my journey in this field." Wow, that's pretty tough. "I work and study a lot, so I never have the opportunity to have much of a social life, friends, women, etc." Oh, I see where this is going. Okay. Let me finish reading this out and then we'll get into it. We'll break it down. "I've never really been that good with speaking to people and usually focus primarily on my work. I am a decent looking guy. I'd say I'm at least a 7 on the scale of sexual attraction, but anytime I've made the effort to talk to women, it usually goes south very quickly. I've been feeling a little depressed and I'm starting to feel like I am never going to find someone to be with. I've only ever been with one girl, but it didn't last long. I guess what I am trying to ask is, how can I be more confident in my ability to pursue someone long term while also balancing school and work? Any bit of advice would greatly be of service to me. And once more, thank you for the content. I've listened to your videos whenever I'm feeling down and it always helps. Keep up the good work. Yours truly, blank." Okay, I'm not gonna reveal his name. I'm gonna protect his identity. So thank you so much. I appreciate the question. And I'm really sorry that you're going through this concern. I share your plight because I as well have been through similar situations. And you know what? Realistically, we're always growing as people. We're going to continue experiencing these things. This is something that's never ending. The pursuit of happiness, the pursuit of wanting to create the best version of yourself and reach the upper echelon of your variability is something that we constantly struggle with. Okay. So first thing I'm going to say, you're 20 years old, right? So you're a very young man. Appreciate that. You're actually in the springtime of your youth. You, at any given moment, no matter what it is that you're doing, even if you no longer want to pursue being a doctor, which I think you should continue doing because you're already on the path and you actually like helping people. I think what's happening now is that because you're working so much and you're constantly going to school, so the studying to become a doctor is extremely difficult. That's not something that everyone can do. Okay. So for that alone, you should be grateful. And that tells me alone that you have the ability and the knowledge to continue pursuing that. Because remember, not a lot of people can do this endeavor that you're going through right now. Okay. So at the very least, find some solace in that. Okay. So we're going to continue with this as well. Because you're always working, you feel like you don't have much of a social life. That does tend to happen. There are going to be many times in our lives when we're put in particular situations where we're always working or we're going to school. So we consume ourselves so much in our craft that we forget about other human beings. Now, this is something that's taken me a while to learn but I'm going to say it anyway. And feel free to disagree with me if you like, anybody. But I kind of feel like when it comes to this part in particular, this kind of holds true for me at least. Okay. What matters most in this world are other people. And the reason that I'm saying that is because you can work your ass off. You can constantly work on becoming a better version of yourself. But if you don't have any friends, any family, any loved ones, anything to share all that passion that you have, you're inevitably going to go down this rabbit hole that you don't want to be in. You know, you could fall into this like realm of tribalism where you're going to become a part of a subset group of people that you don't necessarily want to be a part of. But you'll often find yourself in that situation because you feel like it's the only way. You'll feel like, oh, these people understand my plight, you know, and that's not really the way to do it. If you're sinking down that rabbit hole, then nihilism starts to follow along. And then you become to have a very negative perspective on the world. So I suggest you try to not get stuck in that type of mentality. Okay. Just keep in mind, keep focusing on what you're doing. It does get better eventually. Now, you didn't really touch up too much on friends. You primarily focused on women. So I'm assuming that that's something that you want to get more into than anything else. If let's talk about friends briefly, even though you didn't give me much information on that. I'm sure you have some sort of friends. You might have a small circle of people, which is fine because realistically, we meet a lot of people throughout the course of our lives. Some of them are going to stay and withstand the test of time, and others will fade into obscurity over time. That's just a natural progression of things, and that's what happens in life. So if you have a core group of friends, you know, I would say maybe 4 or 5, give or take, because I've noticed throughout time that there's always going to be a very particularly small group of people that are going to be there for you. I would suggest improving your relationship with them. You know, I know that you're always working and you're always going to school. So if you find that you have any free time, hit them up, see how they're doing, shoot them a text message, tell them, hey, how's it going, guys? You know, are you doing anything tonight? You know, maybe you want to go grab a beer or something. And if your friends are available, then, you know, you do that, you know, because I found that building a strong connection with the people closest to you are important, because if the people that are closest to you feel like you don't put any real effort to see them or at least want to interact with them, they're going to slowly fade away from your plane of existence. And what I mean by that is not necessarily saying that they don't want to be your friend anymore, but if you constantly say no to people, eventually they're going to take the hint, or they're going to think that you're too busy to hang out. So they're going to focus on the other people in their lives instead. So if you want to build a stronger connection with your friends, which I think is necessary because I think we all should, definitely whenever you find an opportunity to hang out, I would suggest doing so. And if you're not a drinker, then that's fine. You know, go out to grab a bite to eat, go to the park or anything like that. So let me see what else here. You said that your passion has been fading. So what I often find tends to happen is that when we want to do something initially in the beginning, we get really excited. We get super excited. We want to just do the very best that we can because this is something that we're passionate about. But even passion can inevitably start to fade over time if it's not like supplemented by something else. And I always say this. And this is going to sound a little controversial, but don't ever let school get in the way of your education. I want you to pause and think about that for a second. Don't ever let school get in the way of your education. Now, what do I mean by that? What I mean by that is that even though you are studying to be a doctor, you might have a sub passion or something else that you're interested in. You know, you said that you like to help people, right? So you wanting to help people could expand in a vast variety of different manners. You know, like, for example, maybe you, I don't know what your origin story is as far as like when you initially told yourself that this is something you wanted to do for a living, but anything else in that field can help you as well. For example, you didn't mention anything about your fitness. You said that you were 20 years old, you were a good looking guy. So I don't know if, you know, if fitness like plays a part. It definitely does for me. So I can touch up upon me, for example. I like helping people too. Now, granted, I wouldn't say that I'm qualified to be a doctor or anything like that, but I do like talking to people, and I do like being able to offer any sort of advice that are my own lived experiences. Now, granted, they might be anecdotal, but even anecdotal experience can help when it comes to certain things, you know, because you might hear something from one person and then you hear the exact same thing from somebody else, and you suddenly, it clicked in your mind. You were like, oh crap, okay, cool. So I focus on my fitness a lot, and it's something that I've been doing a lot ever since I hit 36. Well, even before that, when I was 35, I still started putting a primary focus on that because it's something that makes me feel good. I found this community of people at this gym where now, because I'm there more often, I'm starting to be acknowledged by them more often. And I love working out because when I'm there, all of our energy is in the same pool. You zap all of our energy and you put it into this one tiny place, and it becomes a powerful location. Okay, it's almost cathartic in a way. When I go in there, I feel like I am stronger. I feel like everybody in this place is doing the same thing that I'm doing. So as a result, we're building off of each other's energy, because energy is a very powerful thing. All right, it might be a little metaphysical and it might not necessarily be what you're looking for in terms of this question, but because you were talking about depression. And now, granted, once more, I am not a medical professional. I am not someone that I believe is qualified to help you when it comes to depression. So if you are feeling like a genuine depression, I do suggest seeking professional help for that, because at the very least, they can help dissect you a little more in terms of your mentality and your way of thinking, and they can use their experience to help you more accordingly. So, but when it comes to depression, for me, I find that when I exercise, I feel great. I could have had a horrible day, but once I get into that gym and I put my headphones on and I start listening to music, or I put on like a motivational video, suddenly I am transformed. It's a metamorphosis. I am transmutating this previous negative energy that I had within my being, and I am turning it into something more positive. I'm projecting my energy into the universe in order to not only better myself, but help others around me. Because if I'm in better shape physically, I also get in better shape psychologically. And through that process, that allows me to want to produce these videos. That allows me to want to help more people, right? So if you're feeling any sort of depression, heck, go for a run, go for a long walk. I find it interesting because our circadian rhythms are all messed up. Some of us wake up at the same time every day, and some of us go to sleep at different hours. So because of that, maybe we wake up really late and we miss most of the day, and now we don't have enough sunlight hitting our bodies, right? So when sunlight hits us, it's really interesting because we are like plants, okay? We are mobile plants. We can move and we can speak. And that is the one advantage that we have over a life form like a plant. But plants grow with the sun. We rise with the sun, right? But if you're constantly, let's say you're getting a lack of sleep, or you're sleeping at different hours all the time, it messes up your circadian rhythm. And as a result, you end up having this this energy that is not necessarily going to output at the level that you want to output it at. So when it comes to that, I would suggest trying to move around more, or at least try to talk to more people that are important to you. Now, as far as women are concerned, so if there's one thing that I've noticed, and I could be right or wrong when I'm saying this because everybody has a different experience, but when I'm focusing on my craft, when I'm focusing on my own passions, they do come to you eventually, because no woman wants to be with a guy that's starving for their attention 24/7. Nobody wants to feel like you're extremely needy and you always need them in order to feel fulfilled. They want to feel like you have a life outside of them. They want to feel like there are things that you can do when they're not around you, because they don't want to function as your support system unless it's someone that's been in like a long-term relationship with you and they're your ride or die and they're there to support you in all of your endeavors. If you're just talking to someone initially in the beginning, they don't know much about you. Okay. And I'm going to say this also as well. They don't belong to you either. No one belongs to you. They are their own unique individual with their own compelling life experiences that they've gone through. Maybe one of them went through a particularly bad breakup, and now as a result, they can't or won't want to connect with someone initially because they need that time to process and heal. So you could be talking to someone that you think doesn't have much interest in you, but maybe they're just going through their own rough time and they need their own space. And if you don't give them that space and you try to be on them 24/7, they're not going to want to be with you. Okay. So I would suggest, honestly, just focusing on yourself. And if you meet someone down the line, maybe you go to like a conference or something, or you go to the gym, or you go to a bar, anywhere where you're going to meet the opposite sex, where interactions can happen. Just talk to them. Just say, hey, how's it going? You know what I mean? Like, at the very least, you'll practice on your ability to socialize better. Because if you just look at them from a distance, right, and you don't actually say anything to them, and they see that you're just constantly looking at them, you'll come across as a creeper. And women constantly get spoken to on a daily basis. They get hit on all the time. The last thing they want to do when they're having a drink, sitting down, relaxing, is feeling like someone is going to be on top of them or stalking them. Okay, so let's say, for example, you're out with a group of your friends, right? Just hang out with your friends, have a good time, laugh, express that positive energy, let it exude out of your body, right? And if you fancy someone, go say hi to them. And if they're not down, then you keep it pushing, because you also have to be aware of their body language, because it's not just about you. Okay. And that's something that I've noticed when guys typically tend to talk to girls, and vice versa. What we're looking to do is fulfill our own need. And as a result, sometimes in us wanting to fulfill our own need, we ignore their need. And in the process of doing that, we lose that connection with them. Right. So people are going to come in and out of your life all the time, whether it be friends, family, women, anybody. It doesn't matter. People are going to come in and out all of the time. You can have a job and have known someone for years, and then you go to a new job, and a few years later, you barely remember who that person was, or they barely remember you after you leave, because you get replaced by somebody else. And when that other person comes in, now they start to establish that friendship and that work relationship with that individual, because everything is fleeting. Life is fleeting. Life is pain. Okay. And sometimes we have to get used to it. We're going through our own journey. You have to understand this as well. Think of this as your own hero's journey. There's a lot of steps to it. And there's going to be moments where you feel like, I can't continue going, or this job that I wanted to pursue, I don't want to pursue anymore. You have to find purpose in your own life in order to actually achieve what it is that you want to do. And once you find that purpose, it's something that you have to keep working on. It never ends. All right. It's never, ever going to end. That's something that's going to, that you're going to keep progressively working on for the rest of your life, because life is pain. We're going to get shot down. We're going to get beat up. We're going to feel sad. We're going to feel lonely. We're going to feel depressed. We're going to go through a plethora of different emotional states throughout the course of our existence while we're still here in this world, while we're still functioning as human beings, right? So the best thing you can do for yourself, I guess, just to, further continuing answering your question, just do what makes you feel good. Okay? Do what makes you feel good. If you want to continue pursuing this doctorate, then do it. Do what it is that you want to do. You started this journey. Now you owe it to yourself to either see it through or to crumble it, throw it in the garbage, and try something else. But remember, just the fact that you took on this endeavor alone proves your ability to be able to sustain that information in your head, because not everyone's capable of doing this. Not everyone can remember medical terms. Not everybody can do all the studying that's required to become a doctor or a lawyer or anything of that nature. Okay. So I'm super glad that you reached out, honestly. And this is what I like to do. Like, I like to help people. I like to help people. And in helping people, I also help myself too, because this is a form of therapy for me as well. So if anybody wants to ask me any questions or they want to record a show with me, please feel free. I'm glad that this is the first submission that I actually got where I was able to provide my 2 cents. And I hope you got some value out of this video. Honestly, I really hope you do. And I appreciate your continued support of my content. And I will continue to produce content in the future. Just you sending me this message alone motivated me. So you actually transferred some of your energy into me that enabled me after my workout to record this video, because I wasn't going to do this right away, but once I read your email, I was like, holy crap. I got to help this guy. Or at the very least, I got to talk to him, so thank you once more. I greatly appreciate it. And I hope you gained some value out of this. If anybody else wants to talk, feel free, let me know. I've been NeoStarling. You're all amazing and unique individuals, and don't ever, ever let anyone tell you different. Signing off.